In a fresh escalation of tensions between Budapest and Kyiv, Hungary has accused Ukraine of launching what it calls an outrageous and unacceptable attack on Russian energy infrastructure. Specifically, a strike that disabled a key oil pipeline supplying Hungarian territory. The pipeline in question is the Druzhba, or Friendship Pipeline, one of the most significant conduits of Russian oil into Europe. Ukraine's recent strike targeted the Oneka oil pumping station in Russia's Bryansk region, near the strategic junction where the pipeline splits into several branches, one of which delivers oil directly to Hungary, a member of both the European Union and NATO. Hungarian officials were quick to condemn the action, describing it as an attack on their country's energy security and issuing a stark warning to Kyiv. Budapest reminded Ukraine that it relies heavily on electricity supplies from Hungary, an implicit threat that such cooperation could be reconsidered. Hungary has condemned Ukraine's latest attack on the oil pipeline supplying energy to the country, calling the strike outrageous and unacceptable. Russian officials report that efforts are underway to repair the damaged transformer station, but no timeline has been given for when supplies will resume. The Hungarian government emphasized its position of staying out of the conflict, accusing Kyiv and Brussels of trying to involve Hungary in the war. Authorities also reminded Ukrainian leaders that Hungary's electricity remains a critical resource for their country. This statement was posted on X by Péter Szijjártó, Hungary's Minister of Foreign Affairs and Trade. In response, Ukraine stood firm. Kyiv's message was blunt. Russia started this war, and if Hungary has a problem with the fallout, it should take it up with Moscow. The Ukrainian government defended the strike as a legitimate military action against infrastructure that supports the Russian war machine. This diplomatic confrontation highlights a deepening rift between Hungary and its Western allies. While most EU and NATO members have thrown their support behind Ukraine in its defense against Russia's full-scale invasion, Hungary, under Prime Minister Viktor Orbán, has consistently charted its own course. Orbán's government has maintained economic ties with Moscow, resisted sanctions, and opposed Ukraine's NATO and EU accession bids. Hungary has also frequently voiced opposition to the military aid flowing into Kyiv from Western countries, arguing that the war cannot be resolved on the battlefield and instead requires immediate negotiations. This latest pipeline incident appears to be more than just a tactical military strike. It is a flashpoint that underscores Hungary's increasingly precarious position between East and West. By condemning Ukraine while refusing to criticize Russia, Budapest risks alienating itself further from its allies in Brussels and Washington. Just days before the strike, Hungary was the only EU member state that refused to sign a statement in support of Ukraine, ahead of a high-profile meeting between US President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin in Alaska. The move further cemented Orbán's image as Europe's most pro-Russian leader. Meanwhile, Ukraine's strategy of targeting Russian energy assets is unlikely to change. As the war drags into another year, Kyiv continues to focus on crippling Moscow's ability to finance and fuel its military operations. And for Ukraine, the Druzhba pipeline and its pumping stations remain part of that calculus. With both countries now exchanging barbed rhetoric and subtle threats, the fallout from this single missile strike could have serious implications for energy security, alliance politics, and the fragile balance of European diplomacy. The message from Kyiv is clear. This is a war of survival, and in such a war, no target that empowers the aggressor is off limits. But Hungary's position complicates that reality, raising difficult questions about solidarity, sovereignty, and the consequences of war when friends don't all agree on who the enemy really is.